all-wise God. That's the one I'm talking about. Is the sweetness in our voice that makes you to say you have a radiant and a beautiful voice. We celebrate His Majesty. I will celebrate His Highness this morning. Yes, on that note, I welcome you to Press Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ibadan, the perfect choice station for you, for the high flyers. Let's get started already, shall we? It is all the news making headlines this morning, putting it to you straight this morning. A lot of news making headlines, just in case you don't know. Yes, IBB, he really launched his book, his autobiography yesterday, and a lot of dignitaries graced the occasion, including former president and military heads who had been there before. Graced the occasion. It was a mixed feelings for some persons, even as we was declaring the 1993 election won by won by Abiola at that point in time, and he declared him winner, said well he won, but there were lots of intricacies surrounding that particular decision at the time. A lot to look out for many times. Of course, the U.S. ambassador has denied the fact that USAID fund Boko Haram. Don't forget that news is making headlines. It's everywhere. A lot of reactions on social media, including netizens speaking about it. These and more, we shall bring you up to speed to make you understand what we have for you this morning. Sit back, relax, and enjoy every bit of it. My name is SAMSON. OMOTOSHO, I'm going to be your driver this morning. Is the TGIF edition of the show. Thank God it's Friday. The weekend is here and rest is near. Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome on board. Alright, so now several dailies this morning. I'm going to begin with the Nation newspaper. No evidence USAID funds Boko Haram, says U.S. ambassador. Also, we could see here that some stories are also making headlines. The AGF or Osun government clash over council poll. Also, forces led by Abacha annulled June 12 without my authorization, says IBB. Also, heaps of sand used to block access to Benue CJ's office. You can check that out on. Also, NEC launches a Nutrition 774 initiative to tackle malnutrition in Nigeria. Yes, for insecurity, media, military must work closely for national interest, says CDS. Also, we will sustain onslaught against the bandits in Katsina, says Chief of Army Staff is speaking here. Well, government receives 180 stranded Nigerians from Libya. And on the entertainment section of the Nation newspaper, Portable is on the news. Well, a mix of talent and controversy. Always in the news for the wrong reason. Well, about Dapo Peter's journey of talent, passion and purpose. You want to know? Read further on the Nation. Celebrating Alex Ozone. Okay, you can read further on that as well. Trace Awards goes to Zanzibar, and Odunlade Adekola Lolai DJ attend Fridaus for Biola Adebayo's mom. Okay, well, let's take a look at these. Ground Zero reality show set to premiere on March 16. Even as Nedu speaks here, says, my niceness taken for granted. And Nedu speaks amid online controversies. And in politics, it's wanted probe of USAID tariff funding claims by U.S. congressman. Okonkwo says, I'm on a mission to rescue Anambra. I don't know what that means, but you can read further to know what that really is talking about. And also, new cabinet full of expired politicians, says APC. Are there any expired politicians? Okay, you can go ahead and see it. Mazi Gburuguru and changing political landscape in Imo. Go read that further. Group urges ECOWAS, alliance of Sahel states, not to cut ties. Group urges ECOWAS, alliance of Sahel states, not to cut ties. And how I-FLIER is tackling insecurity in Benue. You want to know? You need to read the Nation newspaper. Let's move on to the sports session of the Nation. The UEFA Champions League fallout. UCL fallout. Lukman Lembas, deeply disrespectful. Okay, that's Gasperini. Gasperini says Lukman Lembas, deeply disrespectful. Okay, NFF accepts Kaloha as official automobile partner for national teams. And also, NDSF opens portal for online registration of athletes. Well, the Super Eagles coach Shell observes as Ikorodu City beat Plateau United. Lukman to quit Atalanta after penalty row with Gasperini. Alright, so well, that's the much we'll be able to take on the Nation newspaper. Let's move on. Ex-Congressman Walsh. For IBB, I hope true winners of past elections will be recognized, says Peter Obi. And Russia-Ukraine war. Trump, very frustrated with Zelensky. That's coming from Mike Watts. That's the ex-U.S. congressman. Well, Nigerian government unveils national nutrition policy. That's against malnutrition. And admitting MKO Abiola won June 12 presidential election is courageous, Tinubu tells IBB. That's General Ibrahim Babangida. And yes, Edo recovers 3,500 illegal firearms in 100 days. Also, for the Osun local government crisis chairman to remain in office till October 2025. That's coming from Lateef Fagbemi, the AGF himself. Well, U.S. Senate Daniel Cameron announces bid for Mitch McConnell's seat. And, well, IGP Egberto Kun denies plots to kill Governor Adeleke, says careless talk. He calls it careless talk. All right, France won't send troops to Ukraine, says Emmanuel Macron. That's the much we'll be able to take on the Daily Post. Let's move on to other newspapers. Alright, so let's touch on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Several stories making headlines. It's all about June 12th. Yes, I feared Abiola's assassination could lead to civil war. That's coming from IBB. IBB says he feared Abiola's assassination could lead to civil war. Warranted him to have annulled that election. All right, so well, Osun local government crisis may lead to violence. That's it. PDP governors speaking here. And for kidnapping, well, it's all about Evans. You remember Evans? Okay. Evans says, I'm ready to surrender all my property. Evans pleads for mercy. Okay. He's now a teacher. Said he's a teacher in prison. I don't know, he's pleading to be out of prison. Nigeria, my country. All right, so, well, federal government urges China to remove trade tariffs for Nigeria. All right, federal government urges China to remove trade tariffs for Nigeria. I thought there was a kind of bilateral discussion with them during Jonathan's regime over we having a trade with them without any kind of tariff incurred. And that, but maybe that has been breached anyways. Infrastructure, deficit a major obstacle to economic growth. Also, well, article will salvage Nigeria from economic woes, says Dr. Kalu. Well, we have Umahi. Umahi advocates concrete roads as lasting solution to East-West Road. Umahi has always been speaking about concrete roads. What is it about concrete roads? All right, you can read it and understand better what he is trying to say. 100 days in office. Okpebholo promises homegrown. Okay, homegrown what? Read further. All right, group condemns protest against Otraro. All right, and the Delta government signs MOU with CNG vehicles conversion. Okay, I hope this is very safe. Oil spill rocks Bayelsa community. Oil spill rocks Bayelsa community. Hope something will be done to really curb this matter of oil spill that could pose danger for this Bayelsa community. Gunmen abduct Afenifere youth leader, demand 100 million naira. I thought this was debunked yesterday, but then let's see if the story really hits there this very morning. In politics, I bought my own chair after Obaseki took his when he left office. That's coming from Okpebholo. Well, Okpebholo is speaking. Says he bought his own chair. Are you permitted to take your own chair when you leave office? I don't know about that. Maybe it's happening in Edo State. I mean, what more can we say? All right, so NNPP will win 2027 presidential election if. There's an if there, but I don't know what that means. Kwakwaso is boasting here. Says NNPP will win 2027 presidential election. If what? Read further to know what if he was talking about. Osho crisis, you can't conduct fresh local government elections. The Attorney General of the Federation tells Governor Adeleke said you can't. You can't. Osho local government poll still there. Vote your chairman, councillors peacefully. Adeleke tells residents. Don't forget, tomorrow is going to be chairman and local council councillors will be. All right, so, well, Osho local government crisis, we stand with Adeleke. That's PDP governors says they stand with Adeleke in this. And in business, fiscal autonomy, why CBN hasn't released funds. So it's now releasing it. He has something to say here, so you need to know the why. You want to know it? Read further on the Vanguard newspaper. NNPP debunks allegations of 200 million liters of PMS import in February 2025. And CSO requests the explanation from Ministry of Health on Nigeria's inflation rate falls from 34.8% to 24.48% after rebasing CPI. Well, 10 things you may not know about late Ijaw leader Chief Edwin Clark. You want to know? You need to read this particular story. That's it on the Vanguard. And lastly this morning, let's move on to the Punch newspaper. Written boldly on the front page of the Punch, knocks as IBB regrets annulling MKO Abiola's victory in 1993. All right, tension as Natasha tackles Senate president over seat relocation. Seat relocation? Okay. Kidnapper Evans, now prison teacher, willing to forfeit 14 trucks. They still has 14 trucks. All right, AGF wants Adeleke against the local government poll. IG dismisses governor's allegations. And U.S. deports 135 migrants to Costa Rica. Okay. And picture words. Lukman seeks to dethrone Osimhen as king of the pitch. Okay. Now this is really good. I mean, they're both Nigerians. They have nothing to fear. Investors stake at 2.41 trillion naira in treasury bills auction. Investors stake 2.41 trillion naira in treasury bills auction. All right, a falling mast kills a driver in Edo on the Metro Plus session of the Punch newspaper. Ekiti Don kicks as robber who stabbed wife escapes from custody. How? How did he escape? Well, Lagos and 14 Filipinos remanded for cryptocurrency fraud. Portable is also in the news. Portable granted 2 million naira bail. Case adjourned to March 5, 2025. Investors stake 2.1. I've talked about that. Emirates Airlines invest $200 million to boost pharmaceutical cargo. Naira rises to 1,494.3 naira per dollar at official market. That's the much we'll be able to take on a several dailies. Analysis comes up shortly. Please don't go away. Stay with us. All right, so welcome back from that, and thank you for staying there with us. I have joining me on the program, as always, on the TGF edition of a show like this, Honorable Femi Adebisi. Good morning to you. Welcome to Price Drive is the TGF edition of the show.
Thank God it's Friday. Yeah. Yeah. I love to say that on a Friday. Yeah. Good morning, Samson. And good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the world. From wherever you are listening to us. Barika Jimo.
All right, so let's quickly get down to the story today. We have so many stories, so we have to be very, very fast about it. Knox, as IBB regrets annulling MK Abiola's victory in 1993. The annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, acknowledging that the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, MK Abiola, won the poll. The concluding section of the 12th chapter of his autobiography launched yesterday in Abuja, titled A Journey in Service. The former leader described the annulment of the election as an accident of history. His remorse, however, attracted knocks and reactions from various individuals and pro-democracy groups, including the Afenifere coalition of northern groups, former Ogun State Governor Segun Oshoba, Mike Ozekome, ASEAN, and other prominent Nigerians. However, the Abiola family was silent on IBB's admission. Calls to Abiola's children, including Hafsat and others, warned by the businessman and politician Abiola was considered Nigeria's freest and fairest. However, Babangida annulled the results, citing concerns over national security. The annulment sparked nationwide protests and political unrest, forcing Babangida to resign and leading to a prolonged struggle for democracy before the return of civilian rule in 1999. Admitting his error, the ex-military officer leader said, although, in quote, he said, although I'm on record to have stated after the election that Abiola may not have won the election, upon deeper reflection and a closer examination of all the available facts. He says, okay, I'm trying to look at the story right now. Facts, particularly the detailed election result, there was no doubt that MK Abiola won the June 12 election. He says, in quote, upon closer examination of the original collated figures from the 111,000 polling booths nationwide, it was clear that it satisfied the main two constitutional requirements for winning the presidential elections, mainly majority vote and geographical spread, having obtained 8,128,720 votes against Tofa's 5,848,247 votes, and securing the mandatory 1/3 of the votes cast in 28 states of the Federation, including Abuja. Then, nonetheless, Babangida noted that Abiola would have been eliminated all the same had he assumed the presidency. Unfortunately, he says, in quote, the forces gathered against him after the June 12 elections were so formidable that I was convinced that if he became president, he would be quickly eliminated by the same very forces who pretended to be his friends. He added. Speaking at the official launch of his autobiography and fundraiser for the IBB Presidential Library in Abuja, Babangida acknowledged that credible, free and fair elections occurred on June 12, 1993. He observed, however, that the administration responsible for creating near-perfect electoral system and overseeing those exemplary elections could not finalize the process. He described this shortfall as a lamentable, in quote, accident of history, end of quote, while noting that the nation was justifiably owed an expression of his remorse.
Well, I'm yet to read the book, but I will rely on the review by His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who did the review of the book. Yeah, the book provides insight into Babangida's perspectives on crucial moments in Nigeria's history, highlighting themes of power dynamics, accountability, and the impact of military decisions on political legitimacy. Be that as it may, he mentioned key areas, mostly around the June 12 election, as if it was June 12 election that marred that administration. It went beyond that as well. And everything about the June 12 election had been said before. In fact, everything you heard yesterday, they were not new. Professor Omoruyi, over, I think, close to a decade ago, wrote a book. And in that particular book, I brought all this out. Professor Omoruyi happened to be the former Director General of the National Democratic Institute. He said, IBB revealed that he believed that there were threats to both his and Abiola's life if the election results were announced. To me, as an analyst, that statement doesn't sound like it's coming from a soldier. A soldier never bothered himself about that, neither his own life or any other person's life for that matter. One should recollect that IBB himself was very, very interested in succeeding himself. That was the reason why he has to transit from a military head of state to military president. Can you remember that? Yeah. Well, that's number one. Number two, IBB implicated several military and ethnic leaders. Then, according to Omoruyi. So, Omoruyi's account was even more punchy and more detailed than what we have in the memoir that was revealed. That was launched yesterday. So, IBB implicated several military and ethnic leaders, notably General Sani Abacha, who opposed a return to civilian rule and the election of Abiola, a Yoruba candidate, for selfish interest. Not only that, in the account of Omoruyi, Abacha had the support of northern leaders and was rallying them against the idea of a southern president, particularly Abiola. For what reason? For his personal reason. He had been nursing that ambition. Another one, Omoruyi acknowledged his reliance on Abacha for rise to power and protection during past coup. That is, IBB acknowledged the support he enjoyed from Abacha, and he has to pay back as well.